Can someone please explain to me how companies are allowed to simply remove the ability for the normal person to capitalize on their error? Especially considering how they profit every day from the system that has built them up. The stock market should be a level playing field for businesses and citizens alike. No advantages, no protections, no safety nets. Place your bets and reap the consequences, no matter the outcome. The day they shut it down. In January 2021, a group of ordinary people, sitting at home during a pandemic, trading on their phones, nearly took down one of the most powerful hedge funds on Wall Street. They didn't use insider information. They didn't break any laws. They simply read the market and bought stock. And then, right at the moment of their greatest victory, someone turned off the buy button. This is the story of GameStop. Of the Reddit community that saw an opportunity. Of the hedge funds that lost billions. Of a trading platform that halted buying at the precise moment it would have cost Wall Street the most. Everything you're about to hear comes from congressional testimony, SEC reports, court filings, and reporting by CNBC, The Wall Street Journal, ProPublica, and others. Segment 1, The Setup. To understand what happened, you need to understand short selling. When you buy a stock normally, your maximum loss is 100%. But when you short a stock, your losses are theoretically unlimited. The price can keep rising forever. That's the trap Wall Street walked into. GameStop is a brick-and-mortar video game retailer that was genuinely struggling by 2019. Digital downloads were killing the physical store model. The stock sat around $7 to $8 per share. Wall Street agreed it was dying, and then some firms decided to bet heavily on that death. By January 2021, approximately 140% of GameStop's publicly available float had been sold short. That's not a typo. Hedge funds had shorted more shares than technically existed in the public market because some had been relent and shorted again. The largest short seller was Melvin Capital Management, a New York hedge fund with $12.5 billion under management that had generated 30% annual returns since 2014. They were so confident GameStop was dying that they'd shorted the company into a mathematically precarious position. A 34-year-old marketing professional from Massachusetts was about to prove exactly how precarious. Segment 2, the Reddit community r/Wall Street Bets, WSB, was a subreddit built around high-risk trading and dark humor. Its members called each other names that would make HR departments faint. But many of its most active members were financially sophisticated. They understood options, short interest ratios, and short squeeze mechanics at a level most casual investors don't. Among them was Keith Gill, Reddit username u/deep-fucking-value, YouTube and Twitter name Roaring Kitty. Gill was a chartered financial analyst who had been studying GameStop since mid-2019. He believed the stock was undervalued. He saw that Ryan Cohen, the billionaire who built Chewy, had taken a 9% stake in GameStop in August 2020. But above all, Gill saw the extraordinary short interest. He understood that if enough people bought shares and drove the price up, the hedge funds would be forced to buy back their positions, which would drive the price higher, which would force more buying, a self-reinforcing cascade called a short squeeze. In 2019, Gill invested approximately $53,000 of his own money in GameStop call options and posted regular updates on Wall Street Bets, including through losing stretches. Academic research published in Nature showed that WSB activity around GameStop began escalating weeks before the main squeeze, correlating closely with trading volumes. This wasn't a random mob, it was a community building a shared financial thesis through documented, public discussion. On January 26, Elon Musk tweeted GameStonk and linked to Wall Street Bets, which had broken all-time Reddit traffic records. On January 27, U.S. equity trading hit its highest ever single-day volume. GameStop closed at $347.51, having been worth $17.25 at the start of the month. Melvin Capital was already covering its short positions at devastating losses. Citadel LLC and Point72 had rushed in a combined $2.75 billion emergency bailout to keep Melvin alive. By the morning of January 28, GameStop had hit a pre-market high of over $500 per share. Keith Gill's original $53,000 had grown to approximately $48 million. And then, at 9:30 a.m., the buy button disappeared. Segment 3, The Halt. What happened on January 28 is documented in extraordinary detail thanks to a congressional investigation, SEC reports, and court filings. At 5:11 a.m. Eastern, Robinhood received a letter from the NSCC, The National Securities Clearing Corporation demanding $3 billion in additional collateral before the market opened at 9:30. Here's why: when you click buy on a trading app, the trade doesn't settle instantly. It takes 2 business days. During that window, the clearinghouse requires brokers to post collateral as a guarantee. The more volatile the stock, the higher the collateral demand. GameStop's surge had created extraordinary demands. The DTCC increased total industry-wide requirements from $26 billion to $33.5 billion in a single day. The problem: Robinhood had only approximately $700 million in liquid collateral available. It was short $2.3 billion with the market opening in under 4 hours. At 7:15 a.m., Robinhood's chief legal officer, a former SEC commissioner, called an acquaintance at the DTCC to ask for relief, waiver, or an exemption. At 9:11 a.m., 19 minutes before the market opened, Robinhood received word that the $2.3 billion charge had been reduced to zero. The congressional report stated plainly that it could not explain why the waiver was issued. Robinhood wired approximately $734 million, satisfied the reduced requirements, and then restricted its customers to selling only, not buying, GameStop and other meme stocks. The effect was mathematically unavoidable. When you allow selling but ban buying, only one thing can happen: the price falls. GameStop dropped 44% in a single day. The hedge funds that were underwater on their short positions got a reprieve. They could cover at $200 rather than $500 or $1,000. Robinhood's CEO testified before Congress that the halt was purely a collateral issue, not a move to protect hedge funds. Investigators found no direct evidence that Citadel or any hedge fund ordered the halt. A federal judge later dismissed a collusion lawsuit, ruling there was insufficient evidence of direct coordination. But the documented web of financial relationships raises serious ethical questions that have never been fully resolved. Segment 4: The Web of Relationships. Follow the money. Citadel is 2 companies. Citadel LLC is a hedge fund owned by Ken Griffin. Citadel Securities is a separate but related market-making firm, also owned by Griffin. Citadel LLC had invested $2 billion into Melvin Capital's bailout 3 days before the halt. If GameStop kept rising, Citadel LLC would lose that $2 billion investment. Meanwhile, Citadel Securities was Robinhood's single largest source of revenue, through a practice called payment for order flow, where Robinhood routes its customers' trades to market makers who pay for that right. In 2021, this made up approximately 77% of Robinhood's total revenue. Citadel Securities paid Robinhood approximately $142 million during the GameStop frenzy alone. So, Robinhood's largest revenue source was Citadel Securities. Citadel Securities' parent entity had just invested $2 billion to bail out the fund most exposed to a GameStop surge. Robinhood then halted buying at the peak of that surge. No direct coordination was proven. But senators from both parties, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ted Cruz, and others, expressed outrage. Congressional hearings were held. The SEC conducted an investigation and raised concerns about market structure. What is undisputed: the halt disproportionately benefited hedge funds at the exact moment those funds were most exposed. Segment 5: The Ethical Core. Here is the fundamental ethical contradiction at the heart of this story. Ordinary Americans lose money in the stock market constantly. Retirement accounts were wiped out in 2001. They were devastated again in 2008, a crisis caused largely by major financial institutions. In none of those cases was buying halted to protect retail investors. The market kept running. Savings evaporated. And system called that the free market. But in January 2021, when ordinary people were winning and major hedge funds were losing, the buy button was shut off. Melvin Capital lost approximately $6.8 billion during the squeeze, losing 53% of its value in January alone, at times more than $1 billion per day. White Square Capital was so damaged it shut down entirely by June 2021. These are massive institutions run by professional money managers who made calculated bets and lost. In any free market framework, that is the outcome the system is supposed to produce. Retail investors who bought GameStop legally and held through the halt lost real money when prices crashed after buying was restricted. No federal agency bailed them out. No clearinghouse called them at 5 a.m. to work out a solution. This is not a new critique. The 2008 financial crisis produced approximately $700 billion in government bailouts for the banking sector through TARP. Millions of ordinary Americans lost their homes and retirements during that same period. No equivalent protection was extended to them. The GameStop episode didn't create this double standard. It illuminated it, in real time, on millions of people's phone screens. Segment 6, Aftermath. What changed? Congressional hearings were held in early 2021. Keith Gill, Vlad Tenov, Ken Griffin, and Reddit's CEO all testified. The SEC proposed reforms targeting payment for order flow, the model creating the documented conflict of interest. Those proposals faced intense industry lobbying and have not been fully enacted. Robinhood went public in July 2021, raising $2 billion, 6 months after the events that had drawn congressional scrutiny. Melvin Capital never recovered and closed permanently in May 2022, with clients who had been invested since the start of 2021 losing approximately 57% of their money. In May 2024, U.S. markets moved to T+1 settlement, reducing the collateral window that contributed to the halt. Payment for order flow remains legal. The conflict of interest it creates remains unresolved. Here is what the documented record establishes. Retail investors identified a genuine market vulnerability, an overshorted stock, and legally exploited it, exactly the way sophisticated traders do every day. The hedge funds on the other side lost billions. They were bailed out by other hedge funds. At the peak of the retail position, the largest retail trading platform in the country, which derived most of its revenue from the market maker that had just bailed out the losing hedge fund, shut off buying. Market-wide trading halts had been triggered only 4 times in modern history. This halt was targeted, one-sided, and favored sellers over buyers at precisely the moment sellers were the losing party. Ordinary investors lose money in this market every single day. No mechanism exists to protect them. The mechanisms that do exist were activated, on this day, for the institutions. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's the documented record. So, explain to me how we can move forward with such a lopsided system. A system that can instantly protect a hedge fund while completely removing the chance for the average person to profit. Doesn't seem very fair. Does it? If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Together we can explore more topics like this.